and they were referencing that on Tucker's show, and that's in that. And Sonny's comment just I had to look up the timeline between Bondi and Bondi was a state attorney general. She wasn't the a federal prosecutor, and this was apparently a federal case. I didn't even know what whether it was a federal state case, but apparently it was a federal case that Alexander Acosta, as the U.S. attorney, did handle and made that sweetheart deal that let Epstein go, which makes sense with his statement saying, I was told he was an intelligence agent and I was told to let it go or leave it alone. So,
well, you said something earlier today, Sean, that he was 3 days away from having a hearing. Bond hearing. I mean, that just is crazy to me.
So on August the 9th of 2019 is when he committed suicide. But there was a lot of interviews with his brother. I think Cenk Ugar's interviewed his brother, so is Tucker, and he said the same thing, that he had a bond hearing set for August the 12th, and that there was a very good chance that he had the money to post whatever bond, obviously, and that he could have gone home with the ankle monitor and all that kind of stuff. So his brother was like, why would he have killed himself 3 days before he possibly was going to the house before this thing was all settled? It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to him. And when you think about it, like, why would you? You might as well go home and kill yourself instead of in the jail, right? A lot easier to do it in your home.
Was that the interview he did with Tucker, you said?
He did it with Tucker and Jake. He did two different ones, yeah.
The last year.
Yeah, that's right. Did both of them. So he had that bond hearing, and they said that, he had that chance to go home, and he could have just gone home. And I mean, heck, if I was going to kill myself anyway, I'd probably go home and chill out until the last possible moment that I had to do it, right? If you think you're going to jail for the rest of your life. Yeah. So at least you can get to the house.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I wasn't happy with it, but with the whole answer, with any of it, but what do you do? But so circling back, the follow up to this fallout today is them leaking or releasing that they've launched a criminal investigation into Brennan and Comey, which I find. See, this is what I voted for. Can we have more of this? Yeah, again, I'll circle back and say it. I don't care. Well, I care. I don't want it to be any bullshit. But if they're found not guilty through a proper investigation, and we show that we can actually trust our intelligence agencies, okay, cool. And I know this is about, I think they didn't specify, but this is about one of them lying to Congress or whatever. But still, I think it's just accountability.
Well, the thing is, and I think what they're referencing is Brennan specifically made many statements essentially saying there was a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians, which did not exist. It came out, obviously. And I think there were specific statements that he made to that effect that were like kind of almost definitive. And that's what they're saying he's lying to Congress for, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Y'all got any more thoughts on that?
Yeah.
It's kind of hot here. We don't have a whole lot of information about it, but
no, not on that one. I don't. It's brand new, but I think just harking back to the Epstein thing, I don't know. This will go away eventually, but I think it's going to hang out. This is something I haven't seen. You never see Trump's base get mad at him. So I'm wondering, I got a few questions. How long does that last? And do they forgive him? I think they probably will. Does somebody's head have to roll? I know we discussed that a little bit last night, but it seems to me you have to have a sacrificial lamb in this situation. Most likely,
we had one with Signal. There was
Mike Waltz, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a sacrificial lamb. Pam Bondi seems like the most likely. I think Dan Bongino, from what I've listened to different MAGA podcasts, that they're kind of letting him off the hook. They feel like they feel like he's being forced to say this, because he was kind of the true believer of all the Epstein stuff.
Well, what about Patel, who has been out there advocating?
Patel's getting hung out to dry too. Bondi and Patel, that's why I think they're the most, either one of them is likely to get the axe. I don't think Bongino is going to get it, but I think one of them would. That's from all I can gather.
Is it easier to replace the Attorney General or the head of the FBI?
Well,
logistically.
The same process.
The head of the FBI, because that's a 10-year appointment, right? You can't just fire him. So I think if you're Trump, it's easier to fire legally, the head of the AG, right?
I think it would be crazy if he really did try to bring back in Matt Gaetz. I mean, I don't know if that could even happen, but
I mean, he's absolutely. I think they talked about at one point Ron DeSantis.
You fire.
You can fire the AG.
Fire the AG, and then you can put in you don't have to have. You put in a temporary or whatever. You don't have to have Senate approval, congressional approval.
How funny if Matt Gaetz ended up in that position.
I don't think it's going to be. I've heard that they were talking about they were talking about your favorite guy, Ron DeSantis, at one point.
A heart DeSantis.
And I mean, I think that's a good pick. I don't see how that, I think DeSantis would be he's an experienced lawyer.
Right now he's training the alligators though.
Yeah. But I mean, I think so. That's what I think you would, you might see that. I don't think you're going to see a Matt Gaetz. I have a feeling that Matt Gaetz is not going to be in that role.
Well, that would be interesting because, he's still on the outs with a lot of MAGA people.
Mm-hmm.
Trump bringing him into the administration, that would also be very interesting. And I'm just looking, this is the part I like, is the speculation. That would be interesting to see how does JD Vance feel about DeSantis coming into the administration.
Good point.
Well, not only that, but you also have to think about Byron Donalds, who is running for governor of Florida. And then it's very widely rumored that Casey DeSantis will run as well. And then Byron is one of, Trump's people.
Yeah, I love Byron Donald.
Well, and his wife Erica is on our board, and she's amazing.
Awesome.